Hey everybody, so I know you've been waiting for a gear video. A lot of people ask, so I want to know what you finished the hike with. So I know it's been a few months. Hopefully a few of you people out there getting ready to go out on the trail can see what worked for me. And the bottom line is you really don't have to worry about it. You figure out what works for you and you just keep using it. So everything in my bag is what worked for me. If I didn't like it, it wouldn't be in there. I'm not an ultralight backpacker. I just want you to know this is not a how-to or a gear review video. This is just answering your questions as to what I used and what I ended up on the trail with. If I get inspired, if there's interest, I'll do a video on what kind of stuff I dumped and changed along the way. But this is what I finished my hike with, and basically it's what I hiked all through New England with, New York and New Jersey. So we're gonna get started. This is the fourth time I've tried this, okay, and they tend to get a little long, so I'm going to just rip through the gear. Most of you guys know what this stuff is anyway, but I'm not going to get too detailed. A few things, I might interject here and there, but for the most part, hold on, we're going to rip right through it. First thing you notice, I got an Atmos AG. It's a 65-liter bag. This is, I love this bag. It's not real light, but it's got a lot of room in there. It's got a lot of pockets and stuff, and I could organize my things so even in the dark I could just reach and get whatever I wanted. At this point of the hike, I put my brain back on, but most of the hike I didn't use the brain. There's so much room in this bag, you don't need it all. Do it again, maybe a 50-liter, but I did it with a 65. Toward the end, I kept the brain on because I like to keep my gloves and hat and stuff in there. It was getting colder. So, you know what I'll do is I'll just unpack it as if I was stopping for the night. So first thing you notice is I have a Z-Lite, a Thermarest. This thing was had 4 more sections. It had 6 more sections actually. I kept cutting them off to use for pads to use to sit around camp and whatnot. This thing is awesome. It's bulletproof. It's light, and I used a under quilt for my hammock for most of the trip, or the beginning part of the trip. Once I sent that home, I would use this if it got cold. But anything below, 50 degrees or so, you sweat, fill all these little cups up with sweat, and you'd wake up wet in the morning. So this was only used in my hammock on the colder nights. All right, so that's that. I'd open this baby up. You guys know I'm a hammock sleeper. Whether you have a hammock, you also use a tarp. This is my tarp. It's a Hennessy Hex tarp, and I loved it. It was great. It's been through the ringer. I would literally stop if there was a storm coming. I would stop on the side of the trail, put it up, get under there, wait for the storm to pass, hour, half hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. Take a nap, break it down, wind it up like this. If it was wet, I'd leave it on the outside of my pack with my Z-Lite. If it was dry, I'd keep it in the pack. I told you this pack has a ton of space. This is just a piece of plastic that I would use as a ground tarp. Somebody left this in a shelter early on. I had a small piece of Tyvek. This was larger, so I went with this. I literally carried this all the way from North Carolina to Georgia. Kind of attached to it. I don't want to get rid of it. Also, everything I had in my bag was kept in waterproof bags also, so that if I dropped my bag in a river crossing or got stuck in the downpour, I didn't need a cover. I did keep a cover with me. I'll get to that later, but I didn't have to worry about anything getting soaked because everything was in waterproof bags. I used Sea to Summit. Very happy with them. I actually got larger bags than I needed. This one's 20 liters, and you can see I'm only using about 3 or 4 liters of it. But make sure if you buy a Sea to Summit or any other type of bag that it's the kind that you can force the air out of. They make the fully waterproof bags that literally you could use as flotation devices. This one is great because you can push all the air out, compress your gear, and save a lot of room inside. This particular one has my hammock in it. I made the mistake of not putting my hammock in a waterproof bag at one point and got soaked. When I set up at the end of the day, it was a wet hammock. Of course, it's lightweight nylon, so it dries quick, but it's still, at the end of a rainy day, you want to get in something dry. So I kept that in a waterproof bag, and I just stuffed it in there. Those you guys know, the campers, with your tents and stuff. You don't want to fold your tents up the exact same way every time. You'll get creases in them. So I would literally just stuff them in the snake skins and stick them in a bag. I also used tree huggers, and I made some whoopee slings for my suspension. Very happy with that. In fact, I'll use whoopee slings forever. All right, in this bag was my sleeping stuff. So at the end of the day, I would take my clothes off, give myself a baby wipe bath right from head to toe, between every toe, behind the ears. And if it was chilly, I would put on these long johns. These are Cabela's, extreme cold weather long johns. Definitely not a backpacking type of clothes. They don't compress. They're not light. And if you were to get them wet, they wouldn't be very efficient. So don't give me crap about this, okay? I like them, and they're comfy. I also kept the tops. And this is my sleeping bag. It's a North Face. It's, I think, a 40 degree. I'm literally, this wouldn't be warm enough on some of the nights, and that's where this came in. So they all work in conjunction with each other. Now this is the other type of bag I was telling you about. This is what I kept my clothes in. If I went heavy on anything, and I'm talking really fast because I don't want to bore you, put you to sleep. If I was heavy on anything, it was extra clothes. I was super conscious about videotaping and wearing the same clothes over and over and over, and I figured somebody would hit episode 30, you know, would see me all in ratty clothes, wouldn't know me, and say, who is this guy, you know? But I kept all my clothes in this. This is Sea to Summit bag, completely waterproof, and this is the type of thing I had for clothes. I carried at least 3 pair of underwear. These are polyester, or spandex rather, and I'm telling you right now, this is the only way to go. They make a lot of different stuff out there. This stuff I got at like probably Marshall's or something, or TJ Maxx, and wore it the whole way. I'm really, as some of you guys followed me, I'm kind of a clean freak, so I always wanted clean clothes. So you get one wearing, turn them inside out, wear them one more day, then go to the next one. All right, I had 2 shirts. One is here in my bag. The other one I left at home to hike in. Didn't want to have all black shirts on my videos, or red shirts. And this is my long sleeve shirt that I wore. This is, you know, one of those icebreakers, merino wool. I carried that all the way from Georgia. Excellent. I always kept a headband on underneath my cap. I was always conscious about the sun. You know, it came in nice for absorbing sweat. And I had an extra pair of shorts that I would wear in town when I went to the laundromat and whatnot. I also had the legs and everything, but this is what I ended up with. This is not what I was carrying. Carry an extra pair of socks. I didn't sleep in socks very often, but I tried to keep these dry. When your feet are wet in wet shoes all day long, sometimes you just need to get them in dry socks just for a little while, just to warm them up. And so I always kept one pair that I always tried to keep clean. So that is from the bottom. Now I'm going to show you guys something. You're not even going to believe this. This is so ridiculous I'm embarrassed to even show you. But for the last 100 miles, from Munson, Maine, all the way up to Mount Katahdin, I knew I wasn't going to get a resupply. I carried an additional bag. I knew when I went up to Mount Katahdin, I didn't want to carry all my stuff up there, so I actually carried a slack packing bag. It's a Camelback, just enough to carry a couple bottles of water, some food, and that's what I summited with. So that was part of my gear for the last 100 miles or so. I know, crazy, huh? Even that's not light. All right, let's see what we got in the outside bags. Got a mashed potato cup. Every night I boil up 2 cups of water with my jet boil, throw my mashed potatoes in there, stir it up, put a cover on it, boil up 2 more quarts of water, and make my rice, put my summer sausage and everything in there. When I was done, I have 2 pots of food, and that's what I ate almost every night. Unless Crazy Tree, you out there? Unless Crazy Tree sent me some dehydrated food, then I was eating like a king. So this is the pad I used. Carried it right in my outside bag, used it all the way. And this is the second one. I also gave one to my son when he came out to hike with me. And I also used it for hitchhiking. I would write whatever town and stand on the side of the road. This thing, it was never this hard on the trail, but all this is a cheap chamois. I'd use that when I would literally walk into the lakes and the streams and cool off and wash the sweat off, the bug spray, whatever. And I would use this to dry myself and wring it out. And I know a lot of you guys that are hikers will understand this and won't think it's gross. I would take this in the summer. I mean, we were hiking 87 degrees, going up these mountains, 90 degrees. I would take this, literally put it behind my waistband and my shorts. It would catch all the sweat coming down off my back, middle of my back, before it would get down into my backside. And I would stop 2 or 3 times a day and just wring it out, put it back on. It saved me from a lot of chafing or any kind of rashing. DEET, 100% DEET. I just want you guys to know this. When you get up into New Jersey, Massachusetts, it's going to be buggy. I like DEET. Kind of feels like a sunburn when you put it on, but this is very important. This is a public service announcement. Do not put it on your poison ivy. Doesn't work. That's from experience. All right, side pocket. I kept my AWOL guide and my notebook. I kept notes on everybody I met. A lot of the people that are the trail angels, other hikers, their trail names. I kept track of everything, so when I put them on a video, I would know what to do. So that was something I kept. And what else? Oh yes, I kept this knife. This was a gift from Caruso. When he got off the trail, he was sick of looking at my little puny knife, and he decided he was going to buy me a real knife. So that was a gift. So that's very, very thoughtful of you, Caruso. Thank you. And here it is, still with me. I also brought a little rope for hanging my food bag. As some of you guys know, I kept my bag in my backpack and underneath my hammock most of the time. But if I was around people, I would hang it in a tree. Now, before you go writing me letters saying you hang all the time, I totally agree with you now. Doing it again and understanding a little bit more about the wildlife out there. I'm not used to wildlife that's familiar with people. To me, that's almost wildlife. I'm used to wildlife that runs. On the trail, the wildlife is really acclimated to people, and I recommend you hang all the time. Most of the time I would just hang around shelters or campsites where other people, but doing it again, that's one thing I would change. I'd hang all the time. I kept a little extra piece of amp steel with me. That's just a braided material. I made a couple continual loops on it. What I would do is wrap this around a tree if it was muddy. I didn't want to put my bag on the ground. So I would wrap that around a tree, and then I'd clip my bag, and that would keep it off the ground while I was setting up my camp. So that went the whole way. Let's see what I got on this side. Oh, I know this is going to sound ridiculous. I carried extra whoopee slings the whole way. I never used whoopee slings. I always used Atlas straps, but I made some whoopee slings before I left. I wasn't sure how long they'd last, so I brought an extra set and an extra ridge line, and never had to take them out. As you can see, there's some earbuds in there too. I didn't need them. Didn't sleep in the shelters. Water filtration. I used the Sawyer Squeeze. Was extremely happy with it. I did notice when I got up to Maine, I bought another one for my son who was joining me, and when I compared the two, I realized my flow was way down on the one I was using up to Maine. So we just switched and just used one. I did back flush it quite a bit, just like I was supposed to, but it was amazing the difference. So I got a new one of those, cleaned it out when I got home. I'll use it on the next trip. A lot of people don't like the squeeze bag, but I've used the actual squeeze bag right from the get-go, and until it would break, and I used platypuses. I actually went through about 8 or 9 of these through the whole course of the trip, but now I understand it's because my flow rate was down. I was squeezing a little bit harder. So if you can keep your flow rate going, you'll go through less of these. These are my tent stakes. I use them occasionally for my tarp on my hammock. Most of the time what I would do is just set my tarp up, grab a few rocks, wrap it around, and just leave the rocks there. If it was really windy, there was some really incredibly windy nights, I would stake them in. But for the most part, I would just tie it either to a branch or to a stick. So these were kind of a pain because when you pull them out at night in the morning, you got to clean them all up. You got to put them back in the bag, blah, blah, blah. So I did use them occasionally, but not very often. I would much rather just wrap around a rock. Also, when you wrap around a rock, it's just as easy to adjust them by just moving the rock. All right, so that's the back. Let's see what I got in my brain. I know it seems like an awful lot of material. It is a lot of material, but you get so used to it. It also has these packs on these little packs on the side, and that's where I would keep my stick pick. You guys know I videotaped this whole thing. I used a stick pick, put it on the end of my hiking pole, put my camera on that, and that's how I filmed everything. So that was in this bag, and on this side I would keep a small thing of Ben's DEET, so I didn't have to go in my pack if the bugs were bothering me. As far as carrying water, I would filter into a smart water bottle. I actually used, I took this for the purpose of this video, but I prefer the Gatorade bottles for two reasons. First of all, the spout is really big, so it's easier to filter water. And secondly, they don't stick up very high when you put them in. They're a little bit more stout. But the purpose of this video, I carried water in those water bottles. In my brain, I had my my little boy's tree bag. That's what I call it. When you have to go out and nature calls, I had everything I needed right in here. All I brought was some toilet tissue and some Germ-X. I was pretty adamant about hygiene out there. I understand that a lot of times if people get sick on a trail, they get sick because of bad hygiene. You know, maybe they went out in the woods and they didn't get themselves clean, and then they go and contaminate their pot and stuff like that. So I was pretty fastidious about that. I hope that's the right word. But anyway, I gotta warn you guys that are going on the trail. After a few weeks on the trail, if you even see this bag, your body knows what to do. So once you decide to stop and you grab this bag, you only have a few minutes to find that tree. So I gotta warn you, psychosomatic. John's laughing in the background. Also, I went through a ton of baby wipes. Baby wipes, that's at the end of the day, I would stop and bathe from head to toe. That's another reason why I like to camp away from shelters. When you're hammock camping, you gotta get naked, man. So you just get naked, clean up, wash everything. You gotta carry every one of these things out of the woods. So you got another Ziploc bag for that. And I would get at least a pack of these every time I went through a town. And one more side note on going to the bathroom in the woods. Listen, there's a lot of people on the trail, especially in the Smokies. There aren't even any privies and stuff. So do a good job. Get in a spot, dig a nice hole. When you're done, cover it up. Make sure that the next guy is walking in, because if you thought that was a good place to go, so is somebody else. And chances are you're not the first person that thought that behind that rock was a good place to go, so you might be in for a surprise when you get there. The idea, finish up, clean up, cover it up, make it look like nobody's been there, and it just helps with decomposition. And you know, it's always sucks going into the woods and seeing a pile of toilet tissue and a pile of toilet tissue. So keep that in mind. All right, what else we have? Oh, okay, these are my cosmetics. Simple. I got a little deodorant. I do want to give a shout out to this, for this brand right here. I use Tom's toothpaste. It's Tom's of Maine. This stuff, you don't really need water with it. You just put a little bit on your toothbrush. It works great, and it lasts a long time. So you don't have to do the whole toothbrush. You just put a little dab on there. That stuff is great. Also carried a toothbrush, some hydrocortisone, whatever. I had real bad poison ivy, so I had to get some prescription stuff. So that's it. A pair of clippers. That was it. That's my first aid kit. That's my health and beauty aids. If I went to a hostel or something, you know, I don't have any hair. I didn't need any shampoo, so but I'd use their shower and their stuff. All right. Here's another one of the microfiber towels. I used it for sweat, and I carry it right on my shoulder. I can just wipe it. I can clean my glasses, whatever. Look at all this stuff. Look at it all. And then what else? Oh yeah, I told you about, here's more wipies. I told you I always carry plenty of them. I didn't carry heavy gloves. These are glove liners, just enough to keep the wet and cold nipping air off my hands. And that's that. Alright, everything else is in the top. I know this sounds ridiculous. Every time I do this, it seems like it takes forever. Here's my food bag, another Sea to Summit bag. This is the kind that you gotta get the air out and then wrinkle it up. You can't force the air out of this. This, right now, it has a Thermarest inflatable pad in there. It just represents the size of a food bag. This amount of food would get you 3 or 4 days. It'd probably weigh about 7 to 8 pounds. So that's just representing the space in my bag. And I did use this green Sea to Summit bag the whole way. I'll tell you what, I'm real happy with this product. I got some small holes in one of my bags, but otherwise they lasted the whole trip. Everything else I kept in a trash compactor bag. These are cheap. You get them at Appalachian or Walmart or whatever. In fact, this one's starting to show a hole. And I only used 2 of these for the whole trail, and my stuff never got wet. In here, I would keep the same stuff every time, same place. This is my Puffy. This is an Arc'teryx. When I bought this last winter, I wore it on a couple cold nights. I was like, wow, that's going to work pretty good. It stuffs down to nothing. I keep it in the top where I can just reach in and grab it. After I take my little afternoon shower, sometimes I'd have a bath. I'd sometimes put this on just to keep the cool air off me. Early in the morning, breaking down camp, I would do this. The last thing I did when I broke down camp in the morning was put my hiking clothes on, because the hiking clothes are wet from the time you leave Georgia to the time you get to Maine. So in the morning, before I put my hiking clothes on, I would wear this. Other than that, the only other purpose that thing had was to be in this. This is a microfiber towel. Got it at I don't know, some Army Navy store, I don't know. I cut it and had my mom stitch it into a bag. So what I would do with this thing is put my Puffy in it, and I would use it as a pillow every single night. People ask, what's your favorite piece of gear? What is the piece of gear that you can't live without? This is it, a microfiber towel. I made it into a pillow, put a string on it. I would tie that to my ridge line on my hammock, so if I got in and out of my hammock, this would never fall and hit the ground. I would use it as a laundry bag when I got into town and had to go wash my dirty clothes. And if I jumped into a river, or if I washed up anywhere, or if I was at a hostel that didn't supply towels or whatever, I would use this as a towel. Most of the time this sufficed as a towel, but when you get out of a shower in a hostel and there's no towels, this was my towel. So honestly, best piece of equipment. I think I want to patent it and sell it. Thanks, Mom, for stitching that up. Look at that, I never lost a stitch. Life is good. Okay, here's my raincoat. Alright, I gotta tell you something. This raincoat, and I might as well throw this in there too. This is my pack cover. This is Ultrasil Sea to Summit pack cover. It's the right size for the bag. All these 2 things did, Red Hot and I used to always joke, is all it did was filter the water before it got to you. So this pack cover doesn't keep your pack clean, pack dry. However, when it's raining and muddy and everything on the trail, it does keep the mud out when you set your pack down. So I did use this quite a bit, and the main reason is that when I stopped to get water, I stopped to take a break and put my pack down, this would keep my pack cleaner. So I do recommend one of these. And the raincoat, I would rename it. This is a Marmot. It's a high quality, it's awesome raincoat, very packable, lightweight. But when you're hiking, it doesn't matter if it's raining or not, you're going to get wet from the inside from sweating, your body temperature's up. You're going to be sweating anyway. You can't even get the sleeves on and off. But what I never sent it home, because on them cold, raw mornings when the wind is biting or there's sleet or snow or whatever, that's when this thing comes into play. So some of the coldest freaking days on that trail were like 45 degrees, but they were raining and they're windy, and really that's the worst. So that is why I never got rid of this. And when we got up into the White Mountains and we're crossing over some of those ridge lines and the wind and rain was coming, it was worth carrying it all the way from Georgia. All right, we're getting there. Oh yeah, you guys remember this? Kitty Cat went the whole way with me. That was a gift from Caden. He's got the twin to it down in North Carolina. Hey, Caden, look at kitty cat. So that stayed with me. And then I had a electronic bag. Now this is smaller than normal, but what I kept in here was my battery charger. I only had one battery charger. It was good for one full charge. My cords, I had the cords for the battery charger. I also had my iPod in here. I set a spare set of batteries. I also kept my medication in here. I had a real bad respiratory infection, so I had to stay on antibiotics. I just threw some things, some household things in here just to simulate. But that's what I kept in there. Generally, it had more stuff in there, but you get home and the stuff spreads out. And finally, last but not least, I kept this little bag in here, cover to my mashed potato cup. Plastic spoon, because as you know, I broke my spork. And my jet boil. This is the jet boil, it's the little one anyway. And this thing is awesome, dude. Two quarts in, I don't know, 3 minutes. Inside I kept wet ones, wipies. I washed, people want to know, what'd you wash your pot with? I would, at the end of my meal, I would take water. I would stir everything off the side, all the mashed potatoes, the rice, whatever's on the side, everything. Make a soup out of it. Drink that, and then I clean my pot and my jet boil pot with baby wipes. I never went to the stream to wash them. I'm kind of, I was really ultra aware about leaving food or garbage or whatever. So I would make that, swallow it, and then clean everything with baby wipes. Baby wipes, baby wipes, baby wipes. And it's all together. Most ultralight packers get rid of this. I don't. I kept it because sometimes I would just want my stuff to stay in there and cook. So after I was done boiling it, I put that back on. Also, they have this little stand here, which you put on underneath your container, your canister, and it gives you stability on the canister. I used it every time. So that, my friends, look at all this stuff. Look at it. It's ridiculous. All it is what I carried. So if you're looking for ultralight backpacking, you're going to have to go to another video. But I actually almost forgot. I did carry a couple more things. These backpacks have a spot for a water they have a spot for a water bag, which I didn't use a water bag, but I carried some of my personal items. I carried my dog's tooth, and I carried my Pepe's St. Christopher. And the dog tooth, you'll have to go back to episode 2 to understand that. But in all my documentations, my account numbers and whatnot. So that's everything, man. I tried to make it quick. I'm going to sign off. You guys, if you haven't checked out the videos, check them out. Subscribe. I'm signing out.